Hi everyone, in this video I am going to introduce you to equations. So if you remember in the previous video we talked about expressions. We talked about expressions. We did talk about equations very quickly. And we talked about terms. So 5 is a term, n is a term. What else did we do? We did coefficients, which is this 2 over here. We did pronumerals, which is the letters. And this overall thing is a term. Okay. So I just want to remind you of the situation that we found ourselves in last time, which is talking to Camille from Camille's Kebabs. This may or may not be a real situation. So he talks to you over the counter. He says it's costing too much these days to make falafel balls, and it costs $2 per falafel ball to make. If the number of falafel balls is B, how do we write the cost of those falafel balls? And we said it was 2 times B. Because one falafel ball costs $2, 2 of them cost $4, 3 of them cost $6, and the best way to write that is no matter what B is, no matter what number B is, the cost is always 2 times that number. So it was 2B. Now, here was the question that we have to think about. How many falafel balls could you make if you had $100? Now, in this conversation, Camille reminds you that he had to buy the falafel ball machine as well, which cost $30. Okay, so remember, just from before, we thought the cost of falafel balls was 2 times B, that many dollars. But now we've realized we have to add an extra $30 for the machine, so we can write an expression for the cost. What that means is this expression that we write down here tells us what the cost is. So we can say how much does it cost to make a certain number of falafel balls. This is how much it costs. That's our expression. And why have we said 2B plus 30? Well, if you're going to make any falafel balls at all, you have to pay $30 because you need the falafel ball machine. This also may or may not be factually correct in terms of falafel balls. I'm not really sure how to make them. This is just how I imagine you can make them. But it's correct in terms of maths. The maths is right. So $30 for a falafel ball machine, you at least have to pay that. And then for every falafel ball you make, you pay an extra $2. So if there was one falafel ball, that would be 30, or it'll be 2 times 1 plus 30. That's for if B is 1, if there's one falafel ball, this is how much it costs. And that ends up being 30 plus 2, which is 32. If there's 2 falafel balls, B is 2, so it's 2 times 2 plus 30. And that equals 34. So you can see how this works, hopefully. Okay, now that's an expression for the cost. And that means we can write an equation, which is basically saying the same thing. The cost is equal to 2B plus 30. Okay, that's the equation for the cost. The equation is really telling us what the cost is. Cost equals this. Okay. Now, by the way, what we were doing before, when we said, okay, one falafel ball, if B equals 1, that's how many falafel balls we're making, then the cost is 2 times 1 plus 30. What we're doing here is substituting. Substituting means replacing B with 1. So if I have 2B plus 30, instead of writing 2 times b, you write 2 times 1. That's substituting. So now I want us to hold all of this in our head, if that's possible, and go on to the next slide. And in this next slide, you go away from Camille's counter and you think about this equation for a while. And you think, what does this actually mean? I have to work out how much it costs to make falafel balls, and now I've just got some letters and some numbers. What does this mean? Is it going to be expensive? Is it going to be cheap? And then you have a moment of genius and you think that means it will cost $70 to make 20 falafel balls. So you're thinking this, and then you get confused again. And you think, is that really true? Does it actually cost $70 to make 20 falafel balls? Now, there's a way we can check this. So the way we check that is we substitute into the equation. We substitute 70 and 20 into the equation. And here's what you have to know. If you substitute it, and the left-hand side, now this is the left-hand side of the equation. This is the right-hand side of the equation. So we call it I'll write it here, left-hand side. Hopefully you know your lefts and rights. The right-hand side of the equation. So if the left-hand side equals the right-hand side, then it's true. If the left-hand side does not equal the right-hand side, then it's not true. Another way of looking at an equation is it's a rule. The rule says that cost is always equal to 2 times the number of falafel balls plus 30. And if it doesn't obey that rule, then it's not true. All right, so let's see. What is the left-hand side? If you substitute whatever you need to, the left-hand side is C, and C is the cost. So in that moment, you thought that it would cost $70. So left-hand side equals 70. How did I write that? How did I find that? Well, the C is the cost. You think it costs $70, so you substitute 70, which means you, instead of writing C, you replace it with 70. Let's look at the right-hand side. That equals 2 times, now we're up to B. Now we can substitute 20 instead of B. So write 2 times 20 plus 30. 2 times 20 is 40. 40 plus 30 is 70. So the right-hand side equals 70. Now, the left-hand side, we can see the left-hand side equals the right-hand side. So this has obeyed the rule. That means it's correct. That means it actually was a moment of genius. You really worked it out. You realized that it would cost $70 to make 20 falafel balls, and you were correct. Okay. So we've actually gone through a lot of things today. We've gone through what an equation is. An equation is also a rule. We've gone through the idea that an equation has 2 sides, with the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And we've also gone through substituting, which is putting numbers into the equation and replacing the letters. And we've worked out how to find out if something is true, if something obeys the equation. All right. That's basically it. Okay. Now, we're going to have several videos in this series. My next video with you is going to be solving equations. So I will look forward to seeing you then. Well, actually, you can look forward or not forward to seeing me, seeing as I won't be seeing you, seeing as I'm making a video. Okay.